everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who Invited Her. I am your host. Wait, did I even say? Welcome to Who Invited Her, San Diego's LGBTQ pop culture podcast. I am your host, Tony, and I'm here with my other host.
You're just so excited you're getting ahead of yourself.
I am.
I am Daddy Bear Eric.
Yes, you guys, we're back for another week. And today we have a very special guest who's calling in later. Kyle Langan, I think that's how you say his last name. Yeah. He is an author, journalist, podcast host. We're going to talk about his new book that just came out June 3rd for Pride. It's called Confessions of a Callboy.
Yeah.
He has a very interesting podcast. His whole blog, the Hamptons to Hollywood, and how he moved from there to here and all that kind of stuff we're going to get into with him. He's had an interesting little journey into celebrity, all of that kind of stuff. But he's going to call in a bit, and we're going to chat with him about his new book and a bunch of other stuff. But before that, what were you going to tell me?
Oh, yeah. I have a little something for you. So
what
week,
did you do?
I was at the gym, and I was in the locker room, and I looked down on the floor, and I see this pamphlet of paper, and I'm like, what the hell?
Please don't tell me it was...
So I pick it up, and I'm like, oh, I need to give this to Tony.
Okay, hold on.
You have to read it to the audience what it is.
It says FOG, F-O-G, Fellowship of Older Gays. I hate you. You're such a bastard. I feel attacked. Welcome to FOG. Why FOG? That is so... I hate you.
Isn't that the most amazing thing I've ever seen?
No, it's not.
Open it up. There's a whole schedule of events.
All of the pictures, they're like in their 60s. Fuck. Let's wait. There's a potluck,
of course.
Nonfiction book club, coffee special, card playing. Do they have shuffleboard on here? Oh my god. I wonder how old you have to be to join.
I don't know. But on a plus side, I'm glad we have that in San Diego. I didn't know there was such an organization.
Good, because the older gays do get forgotten once you hit what, 40?
Yeah.
Start going downhill from there. Yeah. You're dead in the gay community.
And this city doesn't have in San Francisco, there is an older guys bar. We don't really have one here in San Diego.
The Loft.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, because it used to be here in San Diego. It was Khalif was the main one for, the gays at a certain age. And I used to love the Khalif. Yeah. But now the Loft, kind of the same crowd. But you're right. That's FOG. So I know what to join when I'm a lot older. I hate you. You're such a bastard.
I saw that and I was like,
you're like, yes,
perfect.
Oh God! But you guys, we're gonna give you the really quick rundown of Pride in San Diego. I know we keep talking about it every week, but I want to make sure everybody has all the information for it. So it is Pride Month this month, but our Pride here in San Diego is July. I think it's 16th, 17th, and 18th weekend is when the parade and all that. But leading up to that, it starts July 9th with She Fest, which is really cool. It's all for the queer ladies.
Yeah.
And then you have the lighting of the cathedral over in Bankers Hill. That's on the 13th of July at 7 p.m. at St. Paul's Cathedral. They do that every Pride. They've done that. It's really, really cool. The one thing that we don't have this year is the zoo party.
Yeah, I read that online.
That's a bummer.
I forget why. Something didn't work out with it, but yeah, that's canceled.
Yeah, and then on July 15th, it's the kickoff to San Diego Pride Weekend with the rally at the Pride flag right in the heart of Hillcrest, right next to Inside Out and HBC, across from Baja Betty's, all of that. And then for all of you athletes, the Pride 5K is Saturday morning, June 16th at 8 a.m. It's before the actual Pride Parade starts. And then the big festivities is July 16th, 10 a.m. The Pride Parade, it's back this year. We have a great time. I'm going to do the pre-party that I do every year.
Are you? Yeah. I was wondering if you're going to do it.
Yes, and then we kind of get a little too drunk. And then we'll walk down to the parade, and we'll be walking all along University showing our goods.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Causing a mess. And then the festival is back this year. It is July 16th and 17th from 10, I think on the 16th it's 11 to 10 p.m. And then the 17th, which is a Sunday, it's 11 to 9. And you can get your tickets at sdpride.org. They just released the lineup of all of the performers and DJs that are going to be at the festival. And you can go to sdpride.org and get the full list of everybody that's performing. I don't know if we even have what is it, grand jury? What is it?
Grand
Marshal.
Yeah.
Jury.
The judge and the jury.
The judge and the jury.
No, yeah, I don't know if we have a grand marshal this year.
I don't either.
I
have to look. God, we're bad gays.
It should be you.
Bad. Yeah, right. What am I gonna? Why me?
It's Miriam T, and she's just yelling at everyone.
We don't need that.
Get out of my way! Why is it so goddamn hot?
It's hot today.
It is hot today.
It is. It's a perfect. What's Saturday in San Diego?
Yeah.
It's like a breezy 3-4 degrees.
Yeah, I love
which
how
is hot for
we're
us.
complaining that it's hot, but in like Phoenix, it's like 118 right
I was
now.
there last week, and I told you I was in Tucson,
Yeah.
everybody, because my mother had knee surgery.
Yeah.
But
And
Tucson
how's
was
she doing?
she's
She's
doing
good.
great.
Yeah.
101, dry as a bone.
No, thank you.
No, thank
gracias.
you. I know. Oh, you know what I finished last night? Stranger Things.
Oh, how is it?
So I know there's been a lot of controversy on whether people like this season or not. I personally thought it was weird and darker than any of the other seasons.
Interesting.
I really, really enjoyed it. And I had watched up to episode 5, but then I went and got my hair done at Floyd's in Mission Hills.
Okay.
And the girl who cuts my hair, Savannah, shout out to Savannah who works there, she was like, "Did you watch all of it?" And I said, "No." And she's like, "Okay, we have to, next time you come back, we will finish the discussion." So we only talked about it to episode 5, and then she wouldn't tell me anything else. And then I finished it last night. I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
I forget. Is it done, or is there like another half season?
So apparently there's going to be like 2 or 3 episodes coming out in July.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Then done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of watching stuff, last night I went and saw the new Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah. How was that?
I enjoyed it, but if you are a diehard Jurassic Park fan like Bash is, you're gonna love it because they throw in so much from all of the movies, little tidbits. So if you're a fan like me, I was picking up on them left and right in different scenes. I was like, oh, that was in 1. Oh, that was in 3. So I really like that. The only thing that I had a problem with, it took a while for it to kick in.
Yeah.
And I wanted more fights, dinosaur chases, but there wasn't. Yeah, it was still enjoyable. I'm glad I saw it in the theater.
Yeah. I think I want to go see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody's talking about Top Gun. Haven't seen it. Don't know if I want to.
don't think I'm gonna see it.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like it's like overly pro-American, and I'm pro-American, but it's just like too much in my face.
Yeah.
Like I don't
I'm
need
not
that
a
much.
Huge fan of what's his face, Tom
Cruise. Yeah, and like I don't want to give my money to Scientology. Like, that's
no,
weird.
fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's not a
cult.
good organization.
No.
Yeah.
But you guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have Kyle Langan on the show. It's going to be really exciting. I'm happy to talk to him, but we will be right back, everybody.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give the show a 5-star rating cause these narcissistic assholes need it. If you're watching the show on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thanks for listening.
Hey everybody, we are back from break, and we have a very special guest on the phone. He is an award-winning author, journalist. Oh my God, he does everything pretty much. He has his own media company, KJL Media, and he's a host of his own podcast, Hamptons to Hollywood, which started out as a blog, which we're going to get into that. And his new LGBTQ plus novel just came out June 3rd, Confessions of a Callboy. We have Kyle Langan. Is that how you say your last name? I'm so bad with it. Langan.
Yeah, Langan.
Okay.
You got close enough.
Close enough. How are you, Kyle? And you're calling just down the street, right? Just down the street in LA.
That's right. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. It's a warm Saturday here in San Diego, for us at least.
Yeah. It's warm here too.
Yeah. So you just released your 3rd book. Let's talk about the book first. because it just
Okay.
came out June 3rd for Pride Month. And your new book, Confessions of a Callboy, this is actually your third book, right? There it is.
Yay.
Like it came
Look
prepared.
at that sexy cover.
I know. And if
I
you
know.
guys, the model that's on the cover of the book, Kyle actually goes in depth interview with him on the podcast, right? Or was it
It'll be an episode on the podcast. We did an Instagram live. and I'm gonna
Instagram
put it
Live? That's
on
right.
the
I was like,
podcast.
was it on the podcast? I remember seeing a video, but the podcast isn't video.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you did an interview with the model, the guy that is on the cover of the book.
Yeah, his name is Eric. He is a model. He does a bunch of like book covers. I guess that's like a real
Yeah.
niche kind of like
So he's like
industry.
the new Fabio.
Yeah, basically. Basically.
For all you young kids who
Yeah,
don't know who Fabio
right?
is, ask your mom. She'll know.
She definitely
Right.
knows.
Yeah. So the book came out June 3rd, and this is a little departure from your previous two books, Uncharted Water and then the sequel, Uncharted Horizon, which were a little lighter in content. And this one's a lot more seedier. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, gritty,
Yeah.
seedy, sexy. Yeah, my first two books were kind of like they were kind of pitched as like kind of like Gossip Girl meets The Breakfast Club,
Yeah.
like at the beach. So very like fun summer reads. Like I still like love those books so much. And the main character in Confessions of the Callboy is actually a very minor character in
Rick,
Uncharted
right?
Waters.
It's the character of
So
Rick from Uncharted Waters, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what he thought. Okay.
So so it's not like a direct sequel, but it is kind of like his own
A
spin-off.
spin-off. He got his own sitcom.
Exactly. He was this like hyper masculine, like jock kind of guy in
Yeah.
the first book, and now we kind of like there might be something underneath all of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So the book starts with him. It's pretty much the journey of him leaving his East Coast like town, the place he is, and comes to LA. Kind of gets mixed up in the entertainment business. Brand new to LA. Kind of sounds familiar to your story. It
I
does,
know.
because you moved from the Hamptons. Well, you were originally from New Jersey, so you
Right.
started in New Jersey. When did you go to the Hamptons?
So I have been going there since I was a kid. My
Yeah.
parents, we just always had like friends out there, and we always went out. And then after college, I moved there to work in a restaurant. So I was there for 2 summers, and then I was like, what am I doing with my
Yeah.
life? So let me just go try something different. So I moved to LA. So from New Jersey to
Yeah.
Hollywood.
So the book, how much of it is about your personal journey did you take from, and how much of it is not?
Right. So yeah, so it's not a direct memoir at all, but
You're not a sex worker?
I know.
Oh man, you know what? We gotta go. You guys, no, I'm kidding. We're totally kidding. End of interview. God damn it. No, I'm kidding.
But a lot of things are true. I mean, not
Mhm.
true, but like inspired by. So like moving across the country,
Yeah.
like knowing no one, and leaving everything kind of behind to start a new life. Um, and there are some things. I mean, the book is like very overtly sexual, which is fun. But at kind of like the through line is that it's a book about kind of self-acceptance and self-discovery and like self-love.
Yeah.
So I say you kind of like come for the sex scenes, but then you kind of like walk away with like a really kind of nice understanding of like of your own. I hope it makes people reflect about their own kind of journeys about coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've definitely been like propositioned for favors, we'll call them.
Who
but-
hasn't? Who hasn't?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like being in like the gay community. I think
Yeah.
that is very common. And one of the things I did a book signing last week in
Yeah.
LA, and this one guy, he's probably in his like 50s. He came up to me and he was like, like kind of like in a hushed tone. He was like, I like have paid for sex before, and he was kind of like, he seemed reticent to like tell me, but I was so glad that he did, because I think there's such a stigma attached to sex work now, and I hope that the book serves as kind of like a conversation piece, where people can feel a little bit more comfortable about having these conversations, because they are so commonplace, and so many gay people go through them, whether on depending what side of the coin you're on.
So true.
Yeah.
But what made you decide with this book? Because the first two, Uncharted Water and Uncharted Horizon, weren't necessarily LGBTQ focused. Where this one, it feels like a gay novel. What made you decide to do that, and especially take a little darker route with it? And was it on purpose to release it during Pride Month? It sounds like perfect marketing to do it during
Right.
June. You're like, absolutely.
Yes, I mean, before I thought about the marketing piece, I did want to write a story about this because I came out kind of like later in life. I was like 23 or 24 when I came out, and so I wanted to kind of like tell not my story, but that story about coming out, because it's such a pivotal time in every gay person's life.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in that, and then I was really interested in sex work. Probably because I don't have the balls to like make an OnlyFans for like myself or anything.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yeah. You're new to
LA. but this book was kind of like my foray into it because I just think it's so fascinating how sex work is like the oldest profession in the world, and it's so fringe. And however, like with kind of technology, like it's becoming so much more democratized with like OnlyFans and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh wow, what an interesting kind of like thing to merge, like coming out and then kind of like the sex work piece and like finding yourself through sex work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What kind of research did you do? Did you interview sex workers and yeah?
Did you like partake in some, like hire a couple and be like, hey, it's for research?
Yeah. No, I could have written it off.
Yeah,
right.
Expense this.
See, that's where my producer brain goes. Is like, how do I write this up and get away with it for the show?
It's on your taxes.
I know.
I mean, I do have friends that have OnlyFans channels, so I definitely talk to them. I talk to people. I really wanted this book to be like very, not just like gay, but very kind of like LGBTQIA. So there's a lot of, there's like, there's like a trans character in it, there's a non-binary character in it. And so I really had conversations with kind of a lot of queer people on the spectrum just to, represent them, because I'm just, I don't know anything about that because I'm a very, like boring white guy. You know what I mean?
I wasn't gonna say it. He said it.
Right.
But also, too, the really cool thing about the book is you paired up with Equality California, and proceeds for any of the books that you sell during the month of June go to Equality California. What made you decide to partner with them, especially for Pride Month?
I just think, I'm so proud. So I forgot to mention this. So thank you for bringing it up. I'm so proud to partner with them because they are, if anybody who doesn't know, they are the biggest civil rights organization in California. And they just advocate for LGBTQIA civil rights. And especially now that's so important with like everything that's happening and like, the Don't Say Gay bill, all this stuff, right? So I just really respect the work that they do. And I was so excited to again partner with them, and I'm so excited to donate to them too. So it was kind of like a perfect storm.
That's I love that. And the book you explore different kinks in the book that aren't in your other book, especially when it comes to, how do you say it, shit play. I don't know how to put it. Say mud in your bed. There's a bit in the book about that, which I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
So I mean,
what made you decide that fetish? Did it come from?
They call that scat.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Just so we'll use the right term.
Shut up. I hate you. You're fired. What made you decide, out of all the fetishes, you went, you know what? I'm going to explore scat in my book. Was that a personal decision because you're curious personally to do it?
I'm not curious personally about
okay,
scat.
just kidding. People are gonna ask.
I'm gonna put that on the record. But that was a story that I had heard when I was interviewing some.
Oh really?
Whoa.
I mean that. Okay, wait. Let me just explain. The situation that happens in the book is not what happened in this. Yeah, but there was a proposition about this guy had kind of messaged a friend of mine and said like, I'm at this really like this luxury hotel, like I'll pay you to just like come go to the bathroom,
No.
and I'll pay you extra if you like watch me eat it.
What is his number?
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm silly kidding.
And so I was like,
Whoa.
wow. And it just so
Jesus
that's not
Christ.
exactly what happens in the book, but
Yeah.
it really
The book
kind of
is a little lighter version of that.
Yeah. But it really opened my eyes to like, oh wow, like there are so many different like fetishes and kinks out there,
Yeah.
and you know, so it's
still a very taboo subject, any kind of real kinks. I remember there is a really popular podcast called Risk that I've been obsessed with since it started because I listen to a shit ton of podcasts. And the guy that is the main host on it tells a lot of stories, but he really focuses on the kink community for queer people and straight people. It is so fascinating.
Yeah.
It is a really good podcast, Risk, if you guys are looking for something sexual
yeah.
to listen to. So before the books came out, well, first of all, you moved from the Hamptons to LA back in 2011, right?
Mhm.
And then you started the blog Hamptons to LA about your journey, and it was more of a personal journal when it first started back in 2011. And even when you first came, if I remember right, when you first came to West Hollywood, you have a little bit of a tie to San Diego. You spent your first Christmas in San Diego, your first Cali Christmas in San Diego.
Wow, the research is like so good.
Everybody's always surprised when I interview. They're like, "You act." I'm like, "Yes, what do you think I did?" Woke up today and said, "Who's that? Who's calling in?"
Yeah, so I have family in San Diego. I was actually just down there last weekend visiting with my brother. But yeah, so I kind of use San Diego as kind of like a kind of second outpost when I moved to California, because
because
I
grandparents
love it.
are your grandparents still in San Diego?
Yeah, I have an aunt there too, an uncle. So
What part?
they live in Encinitas.
Oh, right.
Okay.
I love the
Beautiful.
beaches up there.
Yeah.
Encinitas is nice. So what made you choose LA instead of going to New York? Well, you did go to New York for a little bit, but why didn't you stay into New York? What made you want to do the West Coast instead of staying on the East Coast?
Because New York, I had like grown up like going, it was kind of like I was like, if I'm gonna like I was 23, and like if I'm gonna like make like a major life shift, let me do something like so different that's not like an hour from my mom and dad. Let me just like go for it. So I did, and also I studied journalism in college, so I wanted to pursue like an entertainment journalism career, and obviously like LA is the spot for that.
Yeah,
so yeah, that was why I was like, pro LA.
Yeah. So the Hamptons to Hollywood blog, it first started off as a personal journey, and it's very entertaining because it seems like from when you first started for the first 2 years, it was always you trying to sneak into the Golden Globes.
Yes.
And then the blog kind of switched. I want to say for me, when I was following it and stuff, it switched like mid 2014 15 to more of a lifestyle magazine that's online and less of a personal journey. Why did you decide to do that instead of keeping it more of a diary of your life in LA?
Yeah, originally I started it because I was told by like an advertising agency that like, oh, it's a really great way to get your writing out there. So I just was writing kind of like personal.
And you're a really good writer. I really like your stuff. And I'm not just saying that. I really do enjoy like the Kyle Chronicles. I'm like, oh girl, I've been in that situation. No, for all of our listeners, check out the book and the blog. His writing is really, it's very, how do you describe, it feels like more conversational than somebody telling you. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you. That's like the hope, and the book is part of it is written in first person too. So it is kind of more conversational. But yeah, so I just made that switch because I realized, in that time, like that's when social media was really taking off. And I was like, I can kind of monetize this a bit and not just make it just be like, essays that my mom is reading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started to just kind of write more articles about the Hamptons and about like, where to go in LA from my experience of just moving here, and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and then you just started the podcast not too long ago, the podcast version of the blog. And why did you decide to do the podcast now instead of when the blog kind of switched over to a more lifestyle in 2015?
I wasn't even aware about like what podcasting was until
See,
like,
that's so funny.
2018,
We were doing this like everybody and their mother has a podcast.
I
And I'm
know.
like, I remember when we started, nobody knew what a fucking podcast
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But it's that I and you've had some really amazing guests on the podcast. A lot of writers and CEOs of different lifestyle magazines for LA. A couple of, like Jeremy Piven was on the show, which he was big in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And I thought he was like the hottest thing back then. You just have like really interesting conversations with really interesting guests that aren't typically what you find on a lot of with pop culture gay. It's not drag. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. No, I really wanted, because like there's so many, well, you guys know from interviewing people, but it's so hard to like, you don't want to ask people the same questions that they're going to get asked. And I'm like, I'm like so like happy-go-lucky all the time, but I have like a deep side too. And I like to pull that out of people that, especially entertainment figures who aren't getting asked those kinds of like more thoughtful questions, Like I asked Jeremy Piven, I don't remember what question it was, but he was just like stumped on, and it wasn't like I wasn't like Barbara Walters or anything, but it was just like he was like, oh, like no one has asked me that, like in this press
right
junket, So I like kind of revealing kind of a different kind of side to people that they might not see.
Which is, that's what I like doing. I like catching people off guard and being like, so what is your favorite? You know what I mean? And they're like, huh?
Yeah.
What? I didn't know we were going to talk about this. I was like, you didn't say it was off limits. So what's next as far as another book? Is there going to be a sequel to the Callboy book, or is it going to turn, or are you going to go back to Uncharted Horizons and finish that series? Like, what's your next project that you're working on as far as book-wise?
Yeah, so I have like ideas all the time. I have like a running list of like ideas that I want to do. But when I first did the Uncharted Water series, it was kind of like a 3-book kind of like deal series. So I'm gonna do one more of those.
Okay,
but
good.
since Rick from Confessions of a Callboy is part of that like world, he might make a cameo. Who knows?
That would be cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that, and then I have some other kind of fun ideas, like that are a bit more. I kind of want to write like a Hamptons to Hollywood book,
Oh, that would be
like,
cool.
just kind of like fun like experiences, and that'll be my own.
Yeah. So you've had a couple run-ins with celebrities and all that. Now that you're in LA, any fun celebrity stories? Like who's been the celebrity that you met that exceeded your expectations?
That's a good question. I just remember the time I was the most starstruck was, so my favorite person of all time, people I get made fun of constantly for this, but is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh,
and
Gwyneth. Oh, Gwyneth.
and I was having lunch with my friends, and she walked into the restaurant, and
Shut up. Did you shit yourself? I would have shit
I just
myself.
like have never been so like quiet. Like I was just like watching. Like I didn't even. It was very. So that was like the most starstruck I've ever been. But I guess in terms of who like exceeded expectations, I mean, I interviewed her on the podcast, Sutton Strack from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's a good time.
Yeah,
I
bet.
We hung out like off air, and she knows how to.
On your blogs, there was one story you told that you ran into, I think it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he mistaken you for. So he did a movie that I really was obsessed with, 50-50, I think it was called, and he played a cancer patient, and he mistaken you for the cancer patient the movie was based off of.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was the funniest thing because I'm like, I love that movie, and I love him. I think he's such a good actor because he did this one song with Zooey Deschanel. because he's a singer too, and it went like this was years ago for New Year's. They did a little song together, and it like went viral. And like ever since this was years and years ago, but I was like obsessed with him, and then watched all his movies. So when I read that, I was like, it made me crack up. I was like,
oh my God,
wow,
that was so funny. That was like when I was trying to sneak into the Golden Globes.
Yeah,
actually, that was a fun experience because like I was like desperate to get into like an after party, and like it was like me and like James Marsden. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
And we were just like standing like together, like standing outside. And I'm like, well, if he's not getting in, I'm definitely not getting into this party.
But just then you have the confidence and the nerve to be like, no, I'm getting in. I'm gonna try. What's the worst thing they're gonna do? You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're not gonna know unless you try.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are you doing for Pride? Since it is Pride Month. When is it? When is
Pride LA this weekend?
Is
right
it,
now.
Is it?
So it's kind of confusing. Well, not confusing, but like West Hollywood had a Pride last weekend, and then LA's having a Pride this weekend.
That's right. There's two.
Yeah, it's kind of the first time that they're like really split like that, I think.
Yeah, because I think the last Pride I went to in LA was the last one they had, which I think was 2019.
Yeah, same. And so this like the LA one is like all downtown.
Oh, is this the first year they're splitting it up?
Yeah, I mean, I did go to the West Hollywood one last weekend.
What mistakes did you make? What regrets? What were their names? No,
yeah, I brought my brother, my straight brother, and his girlfriend came out, so I took them to Pride. So it was kind of I was more of like a gay spirit guide, you know, like showing them the terrain.
Yeah, we've all done that.
We've all been there.
Yeah. What is your favorite part of Pride? Since we are in Pride Month, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's just seeing, like, I think it's like just seeing like people, like, I don't know. I went to West Hollywood and I just like saw so many people that like in one spot. You know, it's just fun to like celebrate with everyone that you kind of like are friends with or hooked up with or like you're at, like whoever it is, you know. It's like they're all here.
Yeah, it's like this is your life. So if Rick from Confessions of a Callboy was going to Pride this year, what would his Pride on a Saturday look like?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I feel like he would be like, you know, pretend to be like maybe straight like earlier in the day, and then as the night progressed he would be totally like giving someone blowjobs at the end.
Yeah, then he'd get into work mode or something later on in the day. It's true. I am not looking forward to Pride. It gives me anxiety. I hate most people, so it's just
and you guys
are lying.
I know. I love Pride. If you don't wake up half naked with a bean and cheese burrito half eaten on your chest the next morning, it hasn't been a good Pride.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you guys, yours is in July.
Ours is one of the later ones. Yeah. And then I think the last Pride, especially for Southern California, is Palm Springs. Is the last one in November.
Yeah, because it's so fucking hot that you have to wait till it cools down to enjoy it.
So back to Hamptons to Hollywood. When you first came to LA, you were what, 23, 24? And you, for your first job was Abercrombie and Fitch because you look like one of the models. And you weren't, and when the blog first started, you weren't even out really. No. So when did you decide to come out, and why when you moved? Why not younger?
When I worked at Abercrombie, that's when I came out. I'm just kidding.
Like, well, you didn't have a choice. Temptation all around. Oh, did you watch the documentary? And what did you think being an ex-employee of Abercrombie and Fitch?
It was very, like, well, I mean, they were very
racist.
So I didn't experience that end of it, you know, but it didn't like really surprise me either. Do you know what I mean? So it was resonant, but it was still like shocking at the same time, you know?
I don't think I ever shopped there. That wasn't my vibe. I was like down at Hot Topic trying to do the whole punk rock thing back in the day. And then, so you had many jobs before you actually started really, when the blog took off and all of that. What was your very first, what was like your first professional job that you did? And you're like, oh, I've made it. is this happening? What was it?
Yeah, I moved to Long Beach to work at a nonprofit, an arthritis nonprofit, and I did like marketing for them.
Yeah,
and and this was even like pre like Instagram, like it was still like before like even social media was a big thing. So that was like my first, like big boy job.
Big boy job. What was your first major job in entertainment that you felt like, this is it?
Well, I worked at the agency, which is the luxury real estate agency that's on the Housewives. And I did all of the corporate social media. So we would go to like the Playboy Mansion and like go to these really cool listings, and like they were filming like all these shows there. So it wasn't directly in entertainment, but it still felt like I was like,
you were entertainment adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider? Have you thought about writing a pilot or anything for TV, film?
So, yeah, I mean, I do. I have a couple of friends who work in development at some production companies, and I'm trying to kind of like
get in there.
There's been kind of some like very loose talks about maybe adapting some of my stuff into, but nothing like serious yet. But I would love to kind of, write.
I could totally see like Uncharted Waters and Uncharted Horizon, like a CW. Like, you know how Riverdale was? It totally has that young adult vibe.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was a show called Revenge a while back?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was, your books kind of sort of reminded me of that, but a little not so heavy. And a little fun. Actually the two first books had a lot of more humor, I thought, than your new book, The Confessions of a Callboy. Was that on purpose?
Funny. Well, I mean, I think that's
the
just
new one darker.
I think it's my personality. Like, I'm just kind of like a bit more lighthearted, just in general.
Yeah.
So I'm writing this stuff about this, like, these scat scenes, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, where is it coming from? But I do think it's a kind of a nice outlet because we all have, kind of like a darker side.
Yeah.
This is kind of a chance to kind of explore that a little bit.
So for anybody coming to LA, never been to LA, what would be your top pick of bar they have to try, and at least your top restaurant picks for people that are coming to LA? They don't want to do the touristy places, but they want like a little hidden gem of LA. What would you recommend for them?
Oh,
for all of our listeners that don't live in the West Coast, which is a lot of them.
There is a I'm a big like seafood.
Me too.
There's a really good seafood place called Son of a Gun. It's like a very small, like there's like maybe like 13 tables in the restaurant. That's a really good seafood place in West Hollywood. Connie and Ted's. I mean, it's kind of like a fun place. But
Connie and Carla? Remember that movie? Anybody?
Wow.
No,
let's not date myself right now and answer that.
Okay. Connie and what was it called? Connie and
Ted.
Connie and Ted's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good go-to spot in West Hollywood too. Yeah, there's so many. LA is so big, It is.
I mean, I grew up here in San Diego, moved away for a while, but grew up here, and LA was always like a weekend trip when I was in high school. We would always go to LA, but then I always felt like, oh, it's so nice to be back in San Diego. It's just a little slower. People are more chill. It's not like going out and somebody knows somebody that worked on this movie with this. I was like, okay, no, I don't care. What was the last book you read? You know what I mean?
Right. It's exhausting.
Yeah. How did you handle that? Like going from the Hamptons and then being thrusted into the LA scene. Like, did you have a bit of culture shock?
I did. I had a very hard time with it in the beginning, actually, because I kept kind of comparing it to New York, and that's not, you can't, because they're so different. Mm-hmm. So I had a hard time with the pace. Like, I was moving a lot faster than everybody else.
Yeah. And in LA, everybody's just like, take your time. It's fine. Just calm down. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I need a job.
Yeah.
So that was hard. And I just like didn't, know a lot of people out here. And it was just kind of like adjusting to like the East Coast in New York and New Jersey in particular is much more direct. So they'll be kind of like very like, no, like get out of here. And then in LA, it's kind of like, let's do lunch. And then like you just never hear from that person.
Yeah, that means no.
There's a lot of code words of things of like, oh my God, we should get together more often, which means you live too far away, I live too far away, we're never going to see each other for another year. But like, you have to understand. You have to decipher.
But it
that.
is very true. Like I love the East Coast mentality because that fits with me. I'm to the point. I don't like bullshit. Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
You know how I am. But even in San Diego, it's just, you get that. It's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to go? Yeah, maybe. That's a no. A maybe is a no. It's a definite hard no. You know what I mean? Just say no.
Just say no. Yeah.
We should bring back Dare. Just say no from the 90s. It's going to be our new thing. Right?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite gay bar in WeHo that you would recommend? Especially for a new kid coming out. And he's going to WeHo for the first time. He's moving to LA and he wants to go out to his first gay bar. What would you recommend?
I mean, I think the Abbey is a good staple just to go. I think it's just a good, I mean, it's, it's iconic, really. And I think, other than that, Revolver is a good one to go
Which
to.
ones do you say, don't go? Don't go. You're going to end up in a K-hole.
Also the Abbey.
Yeah, also the Abbey.
Go, but don't go.
But don't go. It's so true. Well played, Eric.
If you want like really strong drinks, like you can go to like Trunks.
Oh yeah. Where when you come to San Diego, what's your go-to place?
So I have not been out in San Diego.
How dare you?
No, I have. No, I'm just saying post-pandemic. We got Gossip Girl.
The only girl bar on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Only girl bar left on the West Coast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have it in San Diego. I know, it's a shame. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with She Entertainment. There's only 19 female bars in America right now.
Wow.
19.
That's crazy.
There's so many gay bars, but only 19 specific for lesbian and queer women.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. That is kind of sad.
So you came out later in life. You came out at 23.
Mm-hmm.
Why so late? Did you grow up religious?
No. I mean, well, kind of, but it wasn't like scary religious.
Okay.
No, I just wasn't sure. I didn't come into like my own yet. I was like a very like late bloomer in general,
Yeah.
And like I like all through college, I kind of was like, oh well, like I thought my parents were both like artists also, so like I grew up in a very kind of like free, like whatever, like no kind of like pressure was put on me to kind of like decide like what I wanted to do. So kind of just they let it all come to me, and I think because of that, like I would like see guys and be like, oh yeah, like he's very handsome and very attractive, and I kind of was like, I thought I was kind of appreciating like his attractiveness rather than being attracted to him. Like I didn't really put that together. So it just was like a later kind of thing for me. And I think probably subconsciously moving to California where I didn't know anyone and I could kind of
reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
And experiment.
Exactly. If anybody, how you have not moved to a different city or state.
Oh yeah.
You have to. I really recommend that every like young person or any person in general, but like, do that because it's it's so liberating,
Yeah. So the book comes out, or it's already out, June 3rd, and you can get it on Amazon, pretty much anywhere. And so who's up next on Hamptons to Hollywood, the podcast? Your next
I'm
guest.
Be releasing the conversation I did with the cover model.
Oh, Eric. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that'll probably be out. It'll be out next week, so that's exciting. And I just want to say that the book, it actually became a bestseller on the day it was released. So I'm really excited about that. So it was the #1 erotic thriller on Amazon for 2 days in a row.
Shut up! Yes. Congratulations! Look, the children are so happy for you. The children in our studio audience is a bunch of children. They're excited for the erotic thriller.
It creeps me out.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Children should not be listening to the show.
I don't know why they do. If you are under the age of 18, don't do it, kids. Stay away. Say no to drugs. But you know what? Before we wrap it up, we're going to do one thing with Kyle.
What is that?
And then there's Carol. And then there's Carol. Sassy, slutty, sexy. sexy, stanky, right on, Carol.
Carol, for once in your life,
Makes me
shut your damn
laugh
mouth.
still every time we do it. Yes, everybody, we're gonna do Carol of the Week. And Kyle, since Carol of the Week is the part of the show where we get to gripe about whatever the hell we want, whatever's bugging you, whatever you want to get off your chest. This is the time to do it. It is Carol of the Week. Do you have one? I know I caught you off guard, Eric.
Yeah,
You always have
I
a
do
Carol.
have one. When your boss sends you a message at 10:40 at night about some work that you've done that day, and you're like, how the fuck? And then goes offline and goes, now how the fuck am I going to go to sleep now?
I hate that. That's why I turn off all my work shit when I clock out. I'm done.
I know. I just happened to like look at it as I like turned my computer off to go to bed, and I'm like, well, this is going to keep me up all night. God damn it.
God damn it. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Once I clock out, I am done.
You're
Don't
done.
bother me.
Yeah.
No.
I
no,
need to be
no,
better
no.
about that.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Kyle? What's been getting on your nerves lately?
Well, I guess on the terms of like, or on the in the subject of work, I'll have like a client who will like ask me, oh, like, can you do this? And I'll be like, yeah, like sure. And then he'll be like, okay, well, I needed it like yesterday. Like, kind of like, don't if you're gonna like ask me to do something, like give me ample time, give me a deadline. You know what I mean? Like that kind of that's annoying.
Yeah, you know what? Mine is going to be the dating apps. I have
Yours is always the dating apps. What happened this
stand
week?
these people. God damn it. It's like, no, this is what really bothers me. One, when you say hi and you start a conversation with somebody on Grindr, Scruff, whatever, and it's like, hi, how are you? I'm good. Can I see your butthole? No, no, not yet. Work up to that.
Right.
It's like sticking it in and dry. Don't do it. It's just painful. Work up to it.
I feel like you need to have like photos that aren't yours of really ugly
Manny?
ones. Of really
My
ugly
twin brother. I'm
ones.
going to use my brother's photos. He already has a shitty reputation
but
in
just
San
like
Diego.
send ugly ones and be like, that's what.
Yeah, my brother.
That's what you wanted.
Or, oh, this is really funny. I had a guy a couple days ago wanted pictures of my feet, which I'm like, I got Flintstone feet. That wasn't on purpose. I totally hit that by accident. I'm so sorry.
That was brilliant.
I was like, I got Flintstone feet. Why do you want a picture of my feet? No. I told him no. And he said, he was really rude back when I said, no, that's not my thing. And he said, too bad for you. And I said, okay, you have a blessed day. And he goes, was that supposed to be sarcastic?
Right.
I was like, what do you think? Of course it was. God damn it.
That's something you charge for.
I know. I go to my OnlyFans.
Does not go for free. Yeah.
My OnlyFans where I show my feet. No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine?
Hinge is good. Are you on Hinge?
Yes. And I always get paired up with my friends.
Yes.
I hate that. I'm like, no.
I've seen you. Like
I know.
You came as my match of the
I'm
day
like,
once. I'm like,
yeah. What's your app? What's your gay app, dating app of choice, Kyle?
Well, Hinge.
Well, Hinge is cool because it's like so much more conducive to like starting conversations. You know what I mean? So you can just be like, you're like, oh, my favorite whatever thing is this. You're like, oh, like that's cool. Tell me more about it. Like so, it's.
What's your least favorite?
I mean,
isn't Grindr everyone's?
I know. Everybody hates it, but everybody's on it. Everybody hates it, but everybody's on it.
Yeah. Right. It's trash, but it's there.
It's that is the
that's
perfect
their slogan.
It's trash.
We're trash, but we're here.
I'm getting that on a shirt. I'm wearing it for pride, goddammit. Oh, Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Let everybody know how they can find the blog, find the podcast, get the book, and all of that. And you have we didn't even get into it, but you have a social media consulting company too, where you actually could do content for people's social media that want it. So.
Yeah, well, the company is KJL Media, kjlmedia.com. And then you can see all my books at kylejlangan.com. And
right over there, everybody. It's right there. See?
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Above his head.
And then Instagram is Kyle J. Langan. All my social is Kyle J. Langan.
Yes, you guys, the book came out June 3rd. You can get it on Amazon, Confessions of a Callboy. I recommend it. It's a great for Pride Month and the summer reading when you're at the beach here in San Diego at Black's, getting a tan with no tan lines is the perfect book. And Eric, how do people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Daddy Bear Eric.
You gonna stick with Daddy Bear for a
Yeah,
while?
I'm sticking
Okay.
with that one. Yeah.
You can find me at Stony_Baloney_Macaroni on Instagram. You can watch the show every Tuesday night, 7:30 at Outlet TV. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow the podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can email us at thegang@whoinvitedher.net. You can go to our website, whoinvitedher.net, and we have our merchandise, all of that good stuff there. Am I forgetting anything else?
No, that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you again, Kyle, for hanging out with us.
Of
And you guys,
course.
we will see everybody next week. Bye.